Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. This is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So this week, the regular season finale for the Texans will be this Sunday. The regular season finale for the Texans will be against the Tennessee Titans. And so after that, it's all going to be wrapped up. This 2020 version of the Texan season will be done with. So we'll touch on everything as far as like what, surprisingly, what the Texans can do to win that game. So, but first, just a couple of notes and starting with a recap from Week 16. So, another second straight week that the Texans suffered a close loss. David Johnson, though, had a big game. 128 yards. This week he had 128 yards on the ground, coming off his 106 receiving yard game last week. He also had a receiving and a rushing touchdown. Just one of the very few highlights of this game, showing that Johnson was actually gaining some traction as far as like maybe improving and getting his career back on track. Hopefully he'll probably be hopefully he'll carry it into next season and he'll be somewhat of a factor for the Texans. So we'll see how that goes. Another takeaway from this was Crossen. I think Keon Crossen, I believe. He had some crucial plays for us. Had a couple of deflections on third down and second down and all that. So, just just some huge plays defensively to hold us down while some of my players are out on the defensive end. So. Big ups to both of those guys. Unfortunately, we did not walk away with the W, but I mean, if we did, what was it going to matter anyway? Going into the next topic, we lost that game. Second straight week. It was the second straight week that we lost this game, that we lost a close game, but it was also the second straight week we lost the game on a fumble. Deshaun Watson, he fumbled the ball away, and on that same play, he also appeared to be hurt with either an elbow injury or some type of arm injury. And so this week he was cleared to play, and Romeo Cornell, he had went on record as saying, like, if Watson's cleared to play, then, he will start this Sunday. Last couple episodes I've been in, last couple weeks, it's just been a topic of, should Watson still be playing? When are they going to bench him? When are they going to sit down, some of these starters, so we can go into next season healthy? And it's not just me. It's been a topic, amongst, everybody, the whole fan base. They want to know, like, when are these guys going to sit down? It doesn't make any sense that, we're putting our best players out, and it's not, bringing us any wins or, putting us in the playoffs or anything. So, my thoughts on him being cleared to play and playing this Sunday, I think it's still early on the decision. Right now, I'm recording this on Thursday, so who knows what's going to happen between, now and, a couple of glasses of champagne for Cornell and everything to put him in a better mood or whatnot. But it's still early on the decision and how the decision will go. So he might have it. I don't think he'll change his mind about, sitting Deshaun Watson down. However, how it will go, I'm not sure if he's figured out, like, to what extent he's going to play. Is he going to start him maybe first quarter, then sit him down, from second quarter on, or do it, or just let him play the first half and sit him in the second half? It can still go either one of those ways. It's very late in the season, so if he does suffer like an injury, like an Achilles or a knee injury or something, you don't want that lingering into the very next season with a new GM, with a new head coach, and all this other stuff. You really want to just have him healthy as possible. Same thing with all the other starters or important pieces on this team. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, especially against the Titans. The Titans, they're going to be on go mode from the jump. They're tied with the Indianapolis Colts to clinch the AFC South title. So it's like whatever happens, they have to, they can't let up at all on anything. So we'll get into all that when we cover the game. The JJ rant. So yeah, man, JJ was. A lot of people were talking about the JJ Watt rant about like we get paid to play this game, and it just hurts that all the fans get to have to see us put this performance out. And I listen. It was a good rant. It had me going up for money motivation and all that stuff. But yeah, man, JJ's been look. JJ's been is one of this like. I mean, it's been one of the years where it's probably the year that just broke the camel's back, so to speak. This is the one that kind of just pushed him over the edge. Because I mean, but JJ Watt has been JJ Watt's first season. He came in. This team made the playoffs. So for him to actually see like a losing season this late in his career, it can be understandable why he's going on this rant. Because, I mean, his first two seasons, we made the playoffs. The third season, I think it was 2013. That was, sheesh. That still stands out to me. 2010 to 2013 still kind of stand out to me as one of our worst seasons. 2014, we missed the playoffs or whatever. But I mean, back then JJ was like, playing pretty. JJ not pretty great. He was, dominating. So he was like an outstanding defensive player and all this other stuff during that time. Now that his career's, kind of winding down, and he probably feels like I really don't have too much. The window is probably closing in on my chance to get a championship. So everything needs to be picked up quick. So yeah, I can understand. That's probably frustration coming in from that side of things. And the fact that, man, there's probably no telling like what kind of issues have been going on behind the scenes that have just been gnawing at him. So yeah, this last JJ rant. If you haven't had a chance to check it out. If you do, probably much needed to motivate you to go stop using that treadmill for a coat rack this particular new year. So yeah, go check it out when you got a chance. Last news item I want to touch on is Malik Boyd. He's the latest candidate to be interviewed for the general manager position. And so a couple of things about him. He's the current director of pro personnel for Buffalo. Worked in the scouting department for Indian, Arizona to start off his front office career. He has professional relationships with Tony Dungy and Rod Graves. So Dungy and Graves, they're two members of the GM search committee that the Texans have put together. So Dungy was his defensive coordinator when Malik played for the Minnesota Vikings back in 1994. Rod Graves was actually the general manager of Arizona when Boyd was there, I think beginning of 2005. Yeah, so somewhere between 2005 and 2015, he was the general manager when Boyd was there. So, and also Boyd is a Houston native. Played for went to Smiley High School. I think it's called. From an article I read, it's called North Forest now, and he's also He's also a Southern University alumni. So, you know what I'm saying? So he's he has a pretty, solid resume and all this other stuff. What stood out to me, my thoughts on this is, what stood out to me, he had the relationships already with Dungy and Graves in place. So, they pretty much know him and pretty much have a good idea of who they're working with, especially Graves. just knowing who he is as a particular, just knowing who he is as a guy that that's in a front office, that's been in a front office environment. He has some background on that. Um, my next thing is there was another article I read that he might have had the that somebody had credited him with the addition of Stephon Diggs this year, which is uh, obviously worked out for Buffalo in their receiving core. They have a pretty great receiving group with Diggs, Beasley, and Autumn, and yeah, Diggs and Beasley for sure. Um, with that group. So he's kind of helped set up the free agent additions with this current Buffalo Bills team right now, who's sitting at the top of the AFC East. So with that being said, it's a pretty solid resume for what he has accomplished so far and what he's accomplished recently. So um, I think if anything, if the Texans are ready to jump, I think if the Texans are really ready to jump back into the competitive space and not the rebuild space, this guy seems like he has a pretty good. It seems like he has a keen eye for just bringing in guys that'll help bolster this, and not just saying that because we do need a wide receiver, but just saying he knows how to like just put different pieces here and there, to help make this team pretty strong. So it's definitely it's definitely somebody to watch out for. I think just with the relations, I think with the relationships with Dungy and Graves, it'll probably put him up pretty high on the list. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's like one of the guys that's like a finalist or whatever for this position. So with that being said, we're gonna jump right into the final game review or game preview. So right now, man, Tennessee Titans are coming to town in a rematch of our. Let me see that score. In a rematch of an overtime loss that the Texans had way back in week 8. Did I get it right? No, I did not get it right. That's a bye week. It was week 6. Yeah, close enough. So anyway, way back in week 6, we had an overtime loss to the Tennessee Titans. And if we all remember, this was the second game after Bill O'Brien got fired, so we was pretty hyped up about that game. I think this was also the game. Yes, this was the 2-point conversion game. Oh my God, that that game was something else. Let me see what I said about that. Yeah. Yes, this was the game where Cornell tried to go for the 2-point and it just failed. So good times. Anyway, but back to all of that. Texans ended up losing this game in overtime on 2 Derrick Henry runs. Forgot. Yeah, it was one big one within the fourth quarter, within overtime. Then there was, the 5-yard touchdown run that he had, towards the end of the game. So, with that being said, that was week 6, and so much has transpired since then. Texans have found themselves out of the playoff picture, obviously. The Tennessee Titans have found themselves in the playoff picture. They found themselves in the division race. However, they are deadlocked with the Indianapolis Colts for the division title. Not only are they deadlocked with the Indianapolis Colts for the division title, they found themselves in a 5-way tie off the top of my head with the Indianapolis Colts, the Baltimore Ravens, the Indianapolis Colts, Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns. Indianapolis Colts, Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns, and Miami Dolphins. All of those teams right now are 10-5. and it can go either way for the Titans. If they win, they'll definitely have a spot solidified for them. They'll definitely have the. I think they own the tiebreaker, so if they win, then they'll get the division or whatever. If they lose and Indianapolis loses, then they'll still get the division. But if they lose and Indianapolis wins, then they'll be out of the playoffs. And unless they're caught up in one of those weird playoff scenarios where Cleveland got to lose and Baltimore got to tie the game and had a big mama drive the bus or something like that. So it's definitely one of those things where like Tennessee cannot lose. That's their best bet. If they want to stay in the playoffs, they want to get the division, Tennessee cannot lose this game at all. So with that being said, they're going to be going a full 10 in this game. They're going to be doing everything they can to make sure they secure this win. So let me just double check the time on this game to see if they got the noon version or look at my Bleacher Report out. So anyway, so with that being said, Tennessee is going to be going all out. So all this talk about playing our starters and just keeping them in for this regular season game means only one thing: that if you're gonna play, then play. So that's the number one thing. If Texans want to win, if we're gonna play our starters, we're gonna play our regular guys, then they have to play. Go out there, don't get embarrassed, give effort. I know it's going to be tough dealing with Derrick Henry in a must-win situation. The guy that's been throwing people around by the face mask and all this other stuff, just handing out stiff arms like lumps of coal on Christmas. It's going to be tough to tell your defense to go out there and give effort against that. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it real. But if you're going to play, then play the game. No excuses. You got to give effort, and that's saying that to the coaches as well. You gotta get these guys motivated to get up and just be aggressive from the first whistle, from the time that clock starts. They got to give it their all. I don't care if it's week 17 with no playoffs after today. They got to go out there and give it their all. Number two, keep Watson protected. The Titans, they're going to bring pressure if it means disrupting the offense. Last game, Titans had only 2 sacks, and I think going into that preview, what I was discussing in that game preview actually was that if that the Titans really wasn't that good as far as bringing the pressure or getting quarterback sacks that much. I think they were 30th at the time. So they'll find ways to bring pressure if it means just disrupting that offense. So I know this offensive line has had some hiccups. There's been some injuries along there, so the protection has been a little bit shaky, especially as of late. So if the Titans can get some pressure going, they're going to do it. So just keep Watson protected, and just also to keep him healthy as well. Number 3, leave it all on the field. So listen, man, there's no day after tomorrow with the Texans. This is it. This Sunday, this the last game of the season. So all the trick plays, the deep plays in the playbook that you wanted to get out, just go ahead and use them. There's nothing to lose for us. If we win, it's not going to matter nothing. If we lose, all that means is that the Titans have their playoff chances pretty much solidified. So I would say just go out there, just leave it all on the field. So that third reason or that third thing to do to win or whatever, that pretty much sums up all of them. Just if you're gonna play, then play. Keep the quarterback protected and just leave it all on the field. Last game of the season. So hey man, go out there, just give it all you got, do all you can do. So with that being said, I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. If you're watching this on Facebook, like my page, facebook.com/BrandonBlog. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Once again, Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.